my friend. In this modern age, it is not uncommon to see a man sprinting yet going nowhere. His calendar is full, his phone never silent, and his steps quick. But if you stop and ask him, where are you headed, he cannot say. He is busy, yes, but is he productive? That is another matter entirely. Just as a rocking horse keeps moving but never goes forward, many people exhaust themselves in the name of hard work without ever planting a single seed that grows into their destiny. The wise man does not ask, how much did I do today? He asks, did today take me closer to the life I intend to build? The great tragedy of modern ambition is not a lack of effort, but a lack of aim. You will find no shortage of men and women moving quickly, speaking urgently, filling calendars and notebooks with plans, meetings, and lists. Their lives are brimming with motion, but starved of meaning. They mistake speed for strategy and action for advancement. But let this truth burn into your mind. Activity without direction is the enemy of progress. The man who climbs a ladder swiftly, only to discover it was leaning against the wrong wall, has not succeeded. He has wasted time with excellence. Too many people spend their lives reacting to what comes rather than designing what should be. They allow the external world, emails, requests, tasks, and routines to dictate their daily path. They rise each day without a clearly defined aim, and thus they drift. Though their feet are in motion, their life stands still. Energy, when unfocused, becomes erosion. It wears you down without lifting you up. It creates fatigue without fulfillment. Purpose, on the other hand, is the great clarifier of effort. It transforms motion into momentum. It teaches you what to ignore, what to delay, and what to pour your heart into. But to find that purpose, you must stop long enough to ask the hard question, why am I doing what I'm doing? The man who does not pause to question his path may arrive swiftly, only to discover he was on the wrong road all along. Think of the seed. It does not scatter itself in every direction, hoping to grow by chance. It goes deep in one place, finds its foundation, and rises with precision. So must you. Your goals must not be vague wishes, but definite chief aims. You must know what you want, why you want it, and what every action is doing to bring it closer. Anything else, no matter how noble it may appear, is a distraction in disguise. Do not confuse being busy with being useful. The world is filled with busy failures, people who worked all day and accomplished nothing of significance. They exhausted their strength in unimportant battles, while their true mission sat neglected. Do not become one of them. Productivity begins not with action, but with intention. The question is not, what am I doing? It is, why am I doing it? Boy, the difference between those two questions is the difference between noise and impact, between confusion and clarity, between a life that gets by and a life that breaks through. You must direct your energy with precision. Aimless activity is the poison of potential. It steals your time, it clouds your mind, and worst of all, it fools you into thinking you're making progress when you are only circling the same ground. Stop, think, aim, then act. Only then will your steps become a staircase to something greater. There is no greater thief of time than distraction dressed in the uniform of responsibility. It knocks on your door with urgency, speaking in the voice of obligation. It wears the mask of necessity. It pretends to be important, but when the day is over and the light dims, you will find it has delivered nothing of value, only exhaustion without elevation. Distraction is cunning. It does not always appear as laziness or leisure. No, its most dangerous form is when it takes on the appearance of duty. A man may believe he is working toward his vision because he is busy from sunrise to sundown, yet if you follow his steps, you will find that none led him forward. He has attended every meeting, answered every message, responded to every request, but not once did he stop to ask, Is this moving me toward what matters most? That question is the dividing line between a man who is merely busy and one who is truly building something. The world will never stop offering you something to do. There will always be another notification, another problem to solve, another person demanding your time. But you must learn this early and remember it always. Not every task deserves your attention, and not every request is your responsibility. The man who tries to carry everything ends up carrying nothing well. You must choose what to hold and let go of the rest. People fear saying no because they think it makes them selfish. But the man who never says no becomes a servant to everyone else's priorities. He becomes a tool in someone else's plan. He forgets his mission. He loses his way. And in time, he forgets he ever had a destination to begin with. Saying no is not arrogance. It is alignment. It is a declaration that you value your vision enough to protect it. Look around and you will see the pattern. The men who reach the summit are not those who did the most, but those who did the right things with relentless focus. They trimmed the fat from their schedules, cut out the noise, and refused to let false obligations steal their hours. They did not respond to every call. They answered only to purpose. The danger of distraction is not just that it wastes your time, it deceives your mind. It convinces you that motion equals meaning, that being needed equals being valuable. But the wise man knows that his worth is not in how much he does, but in how deeply he commits to what matters. He does not chase urgency, he cultivates impact. Guard your time as you would guard treasure, for it is more valuable than gold. Every minute spent reacting to what others call important is a minute stolen from what you were born to build. Distraction in disguise is still a thief. Strip away its mask, see it for what it is, and walk away. For the man who masters focus becomes the master of his future. The difference between those who achieve and those who merely endure lies in the starting point of their day. One rises to answer the call of vision. The other awakens to run from the weight of pressure. One acts from clarity, the other reacts from confusion. The truly productive do not begin their day by asking, "What must I do?" They ask, "What must I become?" They do not race into motion, they rise into purpose. This single shift in mindset separates the builder of destiny from the prisoner of duty. Pressure belongs to the man who has surrendered control of his time. He walks into each day already behind, already breathless, already burdened by demand that were not born from his own desire. His phone controls him, his calendar drives him, and his to-do list, written by everyone but himself, dictates the rhythm of his life. He lives in response, not creation. This man may look successful to the outside world, but inside he knows the truth. He is surviving, not advancing. But the one who begins with purpose does not move to escape pressure. He moves to express power. His steps are not frantic, they are deliberate. He is not pushed by fear, but pulled by vision. He does not do things simply because they are urgent. He does them because they are aligned with who he is becoming. He is not a slave to the day. He is the architect of it. To live this way, you must choose intention over obligation. You must stop asking what is expected of me and begin asking what is essential to me. You must identify your definite chief aim and let it become the compass that guides your every task, every conversation, every decision. Without this aim, pressure will always be your master. But with it, even the heaviest load feels lighter because it has meaning. Many men rush into action because they fear stillness. In silence, they are forced to confront the fact that they are busy but not fulfilled, occupied but not aligned. Yet it is only in this stillness that purpose is revealed. The truly productive man carves time to think. He writes, he reflects, he listens, not to the world, but to the whisper of his own inner voice. and when he hears it clearly, he begins his work, not in haste, but in harmony with his deepest values. You cannot build something great on a foundation of panic. You cannot create a legacy from a place of overwhelm. Greatness is forged in the quiet conviction of purpose. It is not born from urgency, but from understanding. The man who understands why he does what he does can endure any storm, face any delay, and conquer any mountain. He does not need to be pressured into performance. His purpose is all the fuel he needs. The man who squanders time does not simply waste minutes. He wastes life. He walks casually through his day, unaware that each hour he spends in distraction is an hour stolen from his dream. He fills his calendar, but empties his purpose. He is busy, yes, but his busyness builds nothing. He confuses movement for momentum and labor for legacy. But a day filled with action means nothing unless those actions are tied to the mission that lives deep in his soul. Every hour you live should answer a question: did this hour push me closer to the man I am becoming? If the answer is no, that hour was lost. And enough lost hours will turn into lost years. The successful man does not work more, he works wiser. He understands that it is not how many hours you grind, but how much value you extract from each one. He makes every minute a servant of his vision, not a slave to random tasks. This requires a brutal kind of honesty. You must examine your schedule with clear eyes and ask, is this worthy of my energy? Is this growing my character, my mind, my mission? If not, it must be removed. The man who fears pruning will never know the strength of a focused life. Clarity demands cuts. Discipline demands decisions. You cannot do everything and still become great. You must choose. Your time is a tool. If you allow it to lie dull and unused, it will not serve you. But if you sharpen it with precision and wield it with purpose, you can carve out a life of significance. The mediocre allow their time to manage them. The exceptional manage their time with the force of purpose and the discipline of a craftsman. They schedule their days with intention. They protect their time with boundaries. And they measure success not by how much they did, but by how much it mattered. Each hour is a worker in your kingdom. If it is not building, it is breaking. If it is not earning, it is costing. You must demand from your hours what a wise man demands from his gold: growth, contribution, and value. Let no hour pass without knowing what it has done for your vision. Let no day end without knowing it has taken you further than where you began. The man who makes every hour count will, in time, become the man every hour serves. In a world flooded with noise, attention has become the most valuable commodity. But there is something even rarer than attention. It is focus. True, unwavering, disciplined focus. It is not given, it is built. It is not inherited, it is earned. Focus is the silent force behind every extraordinary achievement. It is the hidden currency of the successful, the quiet power that separates a life of scattered effort from one of unstoppable momentum. Many men believe they fail from a lack of effort, but in truth, they fail from a lack of focus. They spread their energy across too many tasks, chase too many goals, and try to please too many people. They pour themselves into 10 directions and wonder why none of them bear fruit. They mistake motion for mastery and believe the man who does more is doing better. But it is not how much you do, it is how deeply you do it. 100 shallow wells will never yield the water that one deep well can give. The successful man is not the one who dabbles in everything. He is the one who locks eyes with a single goal and gives it the full weight of his spirit. He knows that greatness does not come from divided attention. It comes from concentrated energy. It comes from tuning out the world long enough to hear the whisper of his own calling. While others are distracted by trends, gossip, and triviality, he is sharpening his mind on the stone of purpose. Focus demands sacrifice. You cannot pursue every path and expect to reach your destination. You must close doors. You must say no, not because you are unkind, but because you are committed. Every yes to something meaningless is a no to something powerful. The focused man understands that every choice is a trade. Time and energy are not infinite. They must be invested where they return the greatest reward. And that reward is not always money. It is meaning, growth, and fulfillment. Distraction is the enemy of destiny. It pulls your gaze away from what matters. It chips away at your discipline. It turns minutes into dust and days into regret. Every time you check what doesn't matter, you abandon what does. The successful man builds systems around his focus. He eliminates temptation. He protects his time like a fortress. He does not negotiate with distraction because he knows that even a small crack in his concentration can become a flood of failure. Focus is not simply the ability to work hard. It is the art of choosing what deserves your hard work. It is not just about intensity, but about direction. A laser and a flashlight both produce light, but only the laser can cut through steel. That is the power of focus. It takes your gifts, your efforts, your ambition, and sharpens them into a tool that can move mountains. This is why the focused man rises above the rest. He builds not only with speed, but with precision. He becomes known not for how busy he was, but for the results he delivered. He does not waste time chasing what is popular. He builds what is lasting. And in doing so, he carves out a life that commands respect and leaves behind a legacy that cannot be ignored. So remember this. When the world is pulling you in every direction, when distractions scream for your attention, and when your path is clouded by noise, return to your focus. Hold it like a compass. Guard it like a treasure. For it is the silent advantage of the extraordinary. It is the hidden currency that buys freedom, mastery, and greatness. There comes a moment in every man's life when he looks at the clock, the calendar, the mirror, and feels the weight of being behind. He sees others advancing, achieving, accumulating, and he wonders, what am I doing wrong? The answer, more often than not, is not that he is doing too little, but that he is doing too much of what does not matter. He is not behind in life. He is just busy in the wrong direction. So progress, society has conditioned men to equate movement with progress. As long as the wheels are turning, they assume the vehicle is moving forward. But it is entirely possible to be racing in circles, working long hours, attending meetings, checking boxes, only to discover that you have made no meaningful progress toward your dream. The tragedy is not in being slow. The tragedy is in being aimless. The feeling of being behind is not a signal to do more, but a signal to pause and recalibrate. A man must have the courage to stop and ask, am I climbing the right mountain? Because no matter how fast you ascend, if you are on the wrong peak, your victory will be hollow. It takes a brave man to admit that some of the work he has poured his life into was misdirected. But it takes a wise man to change course before it's too late. Now, the illusion of falling behind comes from comparison. You see others posting their highlights, sharing their wins, showcasing their rewards, and you measure your own worth against their pace. But life is not a race with a shared finish line. It is a personal mission. It is not about how far others have gone. It's about how aligned your steps are with your purpose. The man who is deeply connected to his vision, even if he walks slowly, is ahead of the man who runs with no direction. You are not late. You are not lacking, but you must confront the truth. Some of your energy has been misplaced. Some of your hours have been sold to tasks that serve neither your growth nor your greatness. This is not cause for shame. It is cause for change. The man who corrects his course today will outpace the man who never questions his path. You must begin again, not with more pressure, but with more purpose. Take inventory of your time. Audit your attention. Look at every commitment and ask, does this bring me closer to the man I intend to be? If the answer is no, be ruthless. Let it go. You owe your future too much to waste your present on the wrong things. It is not time you lack, it is clarity. And once clarity returns, so does power. You are not behind. You're simply being invited to turn away from what doesn't serve you and return to what does. Do that, and you'll find that success is not ahead of you. It has been waiting within you all along. Let this truth settle into your mind like iron into stone. The man who confuses motion with meaning will spend his life chasing shadows. But the man who aligns his energy with purpose, who disciplines his focus